Hello, everybody. Hi, how are
Hello.
you doing? All right, okay. So, we are here and we are here to welcome you guys to you know what episode this is, Paul?
12? What? 13?
I
5th?
would say four. I want to
4th?
say four. I'm going to say four. We're going to say the fourth one. We're going to say welcome to the fourth ever teen takeover. I hope that is right. We have been doing so much work and talking about so much good stuff that I have lost track of which one we're on.
Yeah.
So I'm Kalia and
I'm Paul, and we are the Virtual Village Influencers, guided by Miss Star and the Clever Communities in Action organization. We are humbled to be given this offer by Miss Star, and we are here to influence the community and spread cultural awareness, and we are spreading cultural affirming literature.
I could not have said it better myself. Paul just killed that. So we would like to thank you guys again, Miss Star and Mr. Jordan, for
Yeah.
allowing us this opportunity and this platform.
My bad,
And
Mr. Jordan.
I
I
just
forgot to
forgot
say your
all
name.
about him and his greatness. So, but we are so excited to be here. We're gonna grab some of these comments real quick. We got Zuri saying, hey. We got our friend Shania. Good evening, Shania. And we have greetings. So, hello, everyone. We are so excited to be talking to you guys tonight. So, before we get started, we have something to show y'all real quick. We got to make sure y'all are hip because we love y'all and we want to put y'all on to the best thing in the world. We have merchandise. I know we said it before, but we are going to say it again. We have Clever Communities in Action merchandise. We have shirts for you guys to purchase. Everybody's been wondering where we've been getting these dope shirts from, these Literacy Gang shirts. And so we have them on the site. You can go to Clever Communities in Action's website and click on shop, or you could go to clevercommunities.bigcartel.com to get these shirts. We have Literacy, Culture, Community, and Love, and we have our very own limited edition Literacy Gang t-shirts.
That's the one.
That's
That's
the
the one.
one. That's the one. And then we have our Juneteenth challenge for purchase. So if you guys would like to participate in our Juneteenth challenge, be sure to go to the site and purchase the calendar for yourself. So without further ado, like Paul said, we are an organization that is based in literacy and cultural affirming literature at that. So, what better way to kick this show off than with some literacy? So, who you think we bringing up, Paul? Who y'all think?
See, like, if let me see. If I add the one,
Uh
multiply the three, and
huh.
then square the diameter of a triangle,
Uh huh.
and then multiply by the radius,
Yeah.
that gives me I don't know.
He
Like
did all that and still don't know. That's
like
crazy. That's math. That's math for real. We got a whole lot of greetings. Hold on. Hello, Miss Portia.
I miss Portia.
Hello, everyone. Hello, influencers looking to have a great night with you all. Ray says, awesome. Excellent young leaders. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Order your shirts today because I've ordered mine. So if a 10-year-old
Already
has
caught the
ordered
drift.
the shirts, y'all should have ordered the shirts. You cannot get
Already
hyped
caught
by
the
a
drift.
10-year-old. So, like Paul said, he did all that great math still to not know. So before I bring him up, I got to give an introduction. So recently, one of our very own, well, two of our very own virtual village influencers had the privilege of being in the Act So competition hosted by the NAACP. They both placed gold in their competition. So we got to give them a round of applause for that. They placed gold in their
Okay.
actual competitions, one in written poetry and one in oration. So we're about to bring up our orator. Everybody knows him. He's one of the elite professors. We got Professor K here. We got Professor Q in the background. And we're going to bring up our final professor, Professor J. What's good? What's good?
Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Good, good. So, hey, 2020 influencers, looking
Ooh,
forward to this evening's conversation. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, thank you.
no,
So,
man.
hey, influencers.
Oh,
So, Jamir,
Khalil, Paul.
so we heard you did AXO. What is AXO?
I'm glad you asked. Alright. Basically, AXO is the NAACP's venture, and it's the AXO stands for the Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics, which gives youth in grades 9 through 12 the opportunity to share their talents in over 30 categories. My talent happens to lie in oratory. Ayana's is in poetry, but it encompasses dance and a myriad of those subsects, written works as well as art. So Paul, hint. Um, and there's also math. Once again, there's mathematics. So Paul again, science, and just I would definitely say that check out your local AXO branch or your local NAACP branch in general, and just make sure that you get your kids involved with this because we have so much talent there. Like at the national convention last year, I met so many blessed and bright futures in that little week that I was there. So it was truly a blessing.
So, that was a great introduction. So, I'm going to kick me and Paul off the screen, and Jamir, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Hey, grandma. Hey, grandma. Okay, so today I'll be performing an original oration. Hold up, let me fix my hair real quick. Today I'll be performing an original oration entitled "What is Blackness?" What is blackness? A vague term given to dehumanize millions of people by a people who did not want nor cared to learn the cultures, histories, or even names of the people they were subjecting to the worst atrocities known to man. Except, blackness is far more than the countless horror stories that mire our collective experience. W.E.B. Du Bois coins the phrase double consciousness in an attempt to give insight to the depths of blackness within America. This double consciousness relies heavily on a white America and a black America. As time has progressed, we can make the assertion that the double consciousness is simply not enough. You see, the double consciousness was born as the solution to the reactionary behavior of white America. But before we can address the issues of black and white relations, we must first understand that blackness is multifaceted. We must first understand that blackness is intersectional. You see, this intersectional consciousness will be the binding agent that connects all children of the African diaspora. Because this intersectionality comes from the acknowledgement that human existence is based on social ties. With this acknowledgement, you can then understand that everyone is fundamentally different. Different does not mean inferior. Black men must walk with black women as equals. Able-bodied individuals must stand with our impeded brothers and sisters. Those of us who are cishet must join arms with those with our LGBTQ plus kin. Those of us who are Christian must share the same table with those of us who are Muslim, atheist, or animist. Black Americans, West Indians, indigenous Africans, and countless more black people across this vast earth must use the reactionary phrase that defines a race of people as black as the basis for our acknowledgement, understanding, and most importantly, love of one another. This intersectionality requires a level of selflessness and compassion that is unique to black people because after years of being grounded into the slums, ghettos, favelas, and shantytowns, these people who are our brothers and sisters, not only due to the melanin content within their skin, but also due to their ability to be human, these people not only continue to smile, but they also continue to grow. And this growth stems from the ingrained belief that humanity is not innately wretched nor evil, but the height of beauty. That after all the years of struggle and protest, which we can all attest to now, there is still time to grow. There is still time to laugh. There is still time to sing. There's still time to dance. There's still time to create. There's still time to share. There's still time to educate. There is still time to be human. This intersectional consciousness is derived from the souls of Black folks because Black folks have continued to love when it appeared that love had been lost. Happy birthday, Miss Sawyer. Happy birthday. I ain't forget about you. I ain't forget about you. But and now a key tenet of this intersectional consciousness is unconditional love for our brothers and sisters. Another tenet that must be spoken on is that we must pull the wool from over our eyes. We cannot be disillusioned any longer. We must take off our glasses of comfort, and we must seriously look at the state of our world, the state of our nation. It has been 4 years of unbridled vitriol and unchecked bigotry. 4 years, a part of 4 centuries of racism and disgust. It is up to you to go back to your communities, to your neighbors, to your brothers and sisters who share the same gift of Blackness. Notice I said gift of Blackness as you, and remind them that their communities are theirs by birthright and they must become active in our communities once more. I've said it before, but the messenger is truly the most important person in human history because they are the conduit for human progress. I am charging you all to be messengers. The message is twofold. One is to have unconditional love for your brothers and sisters. And 2, go back to our communities and tell everyone to become active in them once more. So I asked you, what is Blackness? In a few short words, Blackness is the continued use of unconditional love by a people who have been continuously denied it. To be Black is to love, and I love to be Black. You felt it?
I don't know what to say. I've heard it twice now, and it still hits. So I don't know what to say. I am in awe. You said that so well. I'm gonna just go to the comments because the comments have been boosting you as much in words that I cannot find right now. Because wow. So it's a lot of congratulations in order for Jamir and Ayana, who both placed gold in the AXO competitions and who will be moving on to nationals. So it's many congrats. Miss Star said Professor J, exclamation points. Talk young man, real talk. Happy Wednesday. Yes, Miss Tiffany, happy birthday. We did not forget. We all want to wish you a very big happy birthday from the Virtual Village 2020 influencers to your family, and also a happy belated birthday to Mr. Rodney. We also want to extend a very happy birthday to you. We love you, man up, stand strong. My favorite influencers are on. Congratulations, Ayana. Proud of you. Yeah, so many comments. Preach, brother. Speak the truth, Jamir. Miss Tiffany said, thanks. You are so very welcome. Kicking knowledge. Congrats, Ayana Jamir. Ooh. It's an influx. So many. So, Jamir, one quick question. Did you guys get to pick your guys' topic for AXO, or was the topic assigned to you?
So we did get the opportunity to choose what we wanted to write about, as long as it was pertinent and relevant to the social climate of today. And I thought that it would be best for me to write about this intersectional consciousness, mainly because a lot of these movements, they tend to leave certain Black people out. And if your Blackness isn't inclusive of everybody, then it's not real pro-Blackness. And that's what a lot of people have to deal with, is their own internal prejudices and their own internalized anti-Blackness. Because as long as we share the same gift of melanin, then at the end of the day, everything else doesn't matter. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, is because no one asks you where you're from or what your orientation is. They just see Black first in this racist society. And that is the gift that we all share. So I thought, what better way to commemorate and celebrate Black people than to let all of us know that no matter our differences, we share the same fundamental gift of being Black and having that love in us, because only Black people love a certain way. I mean, only ain't no other group could be subjugated for centuries and still smile. Ain't no other group can be subjugated for centuries and put on a whole show like this and give back to the community, because I don't think any community could survive after everything that we've been through as Black people. So I just wanted to let everybody know that not only do we have to be active in our communities, but we have to make sure that we recognize everybody in these communities.
Well said, well said. Paul, how did you feel about this wonderful oration that went down?
I feel that Jameer spread his message extremely well, and how he represented his beliefs and how we all share the same melanin, the same gift, and we just need to keep spreading the positivity that we have. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Paul. So I'm gonna kick you off real quick. It's nothing against you, I promise. I'm gonna kick you off real quick. Bring up this one. Because guys, guess what? Guess what? We got a huge announcement. Us three are officially done with school. We are graduating. And I definitely wanted to highlight this greatness right here. We are about to graduate. A lot of us just finished up our last classes. I know for me, it's my senior week. I'm about to go pick up my cap and gown. And so, class of 2020, we did it. How do y'all feel? Y'all are muted.
Say that I am exceptionally happy because I graduate tomorrow. You said you got to pick up your cap and gown. Some of us already got theirs.
Must be nice.
I'm just
Must
saying,
be nice.
I get to walk tomorrow, or you could call it a walk. It's more like a few steps, but it is what it is. Finish the milestone, man, and I'm just ready for the next step, man. High school was great for me, man.
Yes. Yes, it was an amazing experience. Professor Q, how are you feeling?
I'm ecstatic about it. I was like kind of, I didn't think, I was doubtful. I didn't think we were gonna have a graduation, but to be able to I know it's gonna be like an individual graduation, so it's only gonna be like 4 people at a time, and then you gotta leave. But I mean, I guess it's still something. I'm excited. I'm ready for college, and everything's so fast. I'm ready to go to the Grambling State University, best university, and I just wanted to slip that in there real quick. Thank you guys.
The illustrious Clark Atlanta University, the magnificent AUC will be welcoming me in the fall. So just had to put that out here.
Y'all already know where I'm going, so I ain't even gonna speak on it. Silence speaks volumes. I'm the loudest in the room right now.
Of course. So without further ado, we're going to bring everybody back up for these topics that we have for you guys tonight. Hello, virtual village influencers. Hey. So our topic for tonight is BET, Black Entertainment Today. And our first question for our lovely influencers is, how has Black entertainment affected the way that other races perceive us and our point of views? And I'm gonna start this off with Q.
So I think Black entertainment is good to like be portrayed, but I feel like Black entertainment today is like a negative picture. It's like the negative stereotypes about Black people. Like you got the loud Black woman, the dope selling Black man, and I think it does more negative to our community than positive. Also, the music that's out is another form of media. Most of it's about negativity, like, having multiple women and selling drugs and doing all that other kind of stuff. And I think that negative Black entertainment today is doing harm to our community than more benefits. And I will pass that on to Ayana.
Okay, so I think that Black entertainment has played an integral role in how other races perceive us and in our point of views. So, as African Americans, we're depicted in negative roles such as a thug or struggling Black person trying to provide for their family, which isn't necessarily accurate nor fairly depicted of our community as a whole. But I think one positive thing is that certain shows like Blackish show us in a happy household leading to a successful life. And I feel that Black entertainment businesses need to do a better job in producing more shows like that because TV influences people's perceptions as well as their mindset. And so, with that, I'll pass it on to Trinity with her African look today.
Stop it. So I'm gonna piggyback on Q, how he said the rap music is very detrimental to our community because almost, most of the rappers these days talk about doing drugs. I'm killing on 63rd. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this, and it's giving our youth saying that it's okay to go out and murder, it's okay to do drugs, it's okay to push bricks, it's okay to do all that stuff, and that's not okay. That's not okay for our youth these days because we have to be something better than what our parents or other people do in the community. We can be educated and we can still do great things and still make enough money to provide instead of selling drugs, and I'm gonna push that on.
Okay, so I will piggyback off of Ayana actually, where she says that Blackish shows a happy household, and so now mostly is mainly the negatives, but we need more of the positives. So Blackish, I believe, is the main show that portrays a positive, happy household that we may need to see, but all the negatives that are shown and thrown out into the community, other races will see it and automatically assume that we all have abusive, like an abusive family or a torn apart family, and with that it just doesn't need to be thrown out there. And so I believe that there should be more positively based shows, entertainment, movies in the Black entertainment community. And I will toss that up to Jamir. Okay.
I got you. Ain't worry about it. Man, it's a lot to unpack with this topic because when we talk about Black entertainment today, I'm all right. So we're focusing on the media when it comes to television and movies and also music, and it's a lot of the focus is on like how we're perceived by other people, like with other different demographics in America. But what that does to like Black people is it reinforces a certain idea of all Black people can be because it's like, okay, y'all done did a lot, so now I got to try to gather it up a little bit. But basically, Trinity and Q, they were talking about the music industry and how like a lot of hip hop, which started as an outlet for people to speak on community activism and the struggles of their lives, has now been a glorification of vices in a sense, where it's not where instead of people who were selling like drugs in their community or committing crimes because these were crimes of desperation because their communities were wrecked by the government, is people who are just willingly doing these things because it's a glorification of doing drugs. It's a glorification of killing people who look like you. And that's not the purpose of it. So hip hop is very detrimental because it lacks a certain level of substance. Well, the mainstream hip hop does, where nothing's being said except reinforcing stereotypes of Black people is simply more as hedonistic animals, which I don't fully agree with, and I don't agree with it all. I mean, it just doesn't make sense why that's so prevalent in society. And the media, when it comes to film and television, you guys said that there are these negative stereotypes that are going on, and it's because of what's being pushed in the media. Because a lot of movies that have Black leads in them, they typically are depictions of Black struggle, And I understand to make a film or to make a story, you need to have some sort of conflict. But Black people don't have the luxury of having romantic comedies. Black people tend to have movies that reinforce these traumatic images. In one part, they're telling our stories, but sometimes I think it's just to ingrain into us that this is all we ever will be, because they love giving us movies and highlighting movies about us being in slavery, us going through racism, but they never want to talk about movies where we're the heroines or we're the heroes, where we're in positions of power. Because I mean, Hidden Figures was a beautiful movie that hardly anybody talks about, but everybody loves talking about these Black trauma stories. And before I wrap it up, I want to say that we come a long way from like watching Martin or the Cosby Show or Fresh Prince, you know what I'm saying, or like Wayne's Bros or the Bernie Mac Show or the D.L. Hughley Show or the Parkers. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. We had all of these Black sitcoms to now we only have Blackish, and you can see that as time has progressed, the families have gotten lighter and lighter and lighter, and that really just doesn't. It don't sit right with me, because I understand that Blackish is having a racially ambiguous family, but there's no other show out there that gets the same amount of prominence as that. And it really goes to show something, that the darkest person on Blackish is Anthony Anderson, and he's not even as close. He's brown skinned. He's not as dark as he's not Jameer skinned. So it really just goes to show you that, like, as time has progressed, these Black sitcoms have been whitewashed in a sense. And I feel like that's definitely on. He's a different world too, a different world. Like the Queen Latifah show. It was a bunch of them out there, and now we only got one that's really pushed. But but basically, what I'm trying to say is the narratives that are being pushed, even when they are positive, they're usually either relegated to the side, or there's a specific niche that they're trying to push when they get these narratives. And with that, I'll yield my time to Khalid.
Okay, so I'll answer this question. Do you feel any responsibility to speak out to your peers about those negative stereotypes in the media? After I answered the initial question. So, as far as how Black entertainment portrays us to other races, I feel like Black entertainment, in one retrospect, only reinforces the already prevalent stereotypes that other races have towards us, that we are over aggressive, that we are impoverished, that we aspire to be nothing more than drug dealers or basketball players or rappers or singers. I feel like it over criminalizes the Black man, making him extra aggressive, extra abusive, or even non-existent. I feel like it provides unnecessary anger onto the Black woman. Like, all they do is talk and yell and beat and be upset. And I feel like they do it not because necessarily all Black directors and Black creators want to do that per se, but I feel like the entertainment system, even though it is spearheaded with Black faces, is ultimately controlled by the same systemic, what is it? I can't even think of the word, but it's just controlled by the same system that oppresses us. It's controlled by the same oppressive system that is perpetuating police brutality, that's perpetuating racism, that's perpetuating all these things that go against us. So even though there are Black people in the forefront, they are still being puppeteered by the same system that is going against us. So I feel like even though there are mainstream rappers and artists that only talk about lean and the overglorification of drugs, like making drugs seem fun because you can put a perk 30 in your Gatorade and it's not as bad as sniffing a line of coke, or you can put a perk 30 in some Sprite with some Robitussin and some Jolly Ranchers, and that's not as bad as heroin, but they all have the same effects. So even though there are some detrimental sides to Black entertainment, I feel like Black entertainment has also been the gateway to us expressing ourselves as Black people. Like, so many people have embraced Black culture because of the leaders of our Black entertainment. So many people want to look like Rihanna. So many other races idolize people like Beyonce and the Tyler Perrys and the Queen Latifahs and all those Black figures. So even though it has been a detriment, it has also allowed our culture to be dispersed amongst realms. So this next question, do you feel any responsibility to speak out to your peers about those negative stereotypes? I do. And I do. So I speak out to my peers about how even though you see these people rapping about killing people, rapping about stealing, rapping about serving dope, be realistic. Like, if these people are always in the media, always in the camera, do you really think they're selling dope and not going to jail for it? Do you really think they are murdering people and not going to jail for it? Like, do you really think these people are really committing these acts and still being able to be Black and maintain their wealth and maintain their notoriety without the cops or the FBI on them? Like, you got to think. So even though they participate and they speak about these things, they may have done it in their past, but now as million and billionaires, they are not doing this stuff. So if you want to idolize them and you want to be just like them, you can't replicate the things that got them in trouble before they got to this point. You must replicate the things that they are doing now. And if you can't make it in rapping, don't be a rapper. Like, not everybody can rap. Some people need to drive past the studio, and that's okay. Not everybody can be a basketball player or a football player. You might have to run past the court. It's okay. It's so many other things that you can gain millions for. It doesn't have to be in the entertainment industry. I'll open that up to anybody else who would like to answer it, or we can just move to the next question.
I'm gonna go ahead and get off that plate too. So, well, first of all, Kalia, my rap career will be taking off soon, shortly. My tracks will be dropping. Make sure you guys check out my mixtape on SoundCloud. But in all seriousness, though, I really do agree with what she's saying. You know, it's important to tell our peers and the people who are around that what they're rapping about sometimes isn't true, because Lil Wayne will talk on the track about being blood, being this, and that, and then he got ran up on by a whole bunch of Bloods and didn't do anything but stay in his car scared. So, I mean, it's important to like tell people that what they're talking about isn't true. And, you know, we're much more than just, you know, drug dealers and basketball players and comedians and rappers and musicians, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's really important. And anyone who wants to take it from there, feel free to.
Y'all good? All right, so the next question, it was kind of touched on a little bit in the last one, but now is, how does Black entertainment today affect our perceptions of ourselves and how we perceive ourselves as Black people? So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this down to Paul. I'm gonna let Paul go first on this one.
Wait, so can you re-say that question real quick? Like,
of course, Paul. So to piggyback off of what we were just talking about, how does Black entertainment today affect how Black people see ourselves? So how does the things we see in movies, the things we hear in rap songs, impact how we see ourselves and what we think of ourselves?
Okay, I got it. It's here, locked in. All right, so such as with rap music, talking about selling drugs and looting and stealing, Black people, Black children specifically, that listen to this music and look up to these rappers as icons, they would see that that's the only way to get by, and so they would use that as an excuse. They would say that, like, their parents would come to them and say, "Oh, why are you selling drugs?" And then they'll say, Lil Pump does it. Let me do it." And then that would just be on the rapper, because they're setting a bad image for the children, and so it'll make it seem like it's the only way for them. And I really don't believe that should be set as an image for the youth that is coming up. And with that, I will pass this to Q.
So, thanks, Paul. So, Black media portrays Blacks as, you know, pretty much what we went over in a negative form for the majority part of it. Of course, you know, we do have our positive shows out there, you know, especially if you look. So I would like to say for like the other nations or other people, it makes us seem like all we're good for is playing basketball, football, being good with the microphone. It's like that old stereotype that says the only way black people can get out the hood is if you're good with the ball or if you're good with the microphone. And so I feel like it's important for us to try to break down those barriers and show some more, like some Vivian Thompson's films where, you know, the doctor who cured like blue baby, I think. And I feel like it's important to portray those people instead of just like glorifying like our rappers and other people, to give the black community a better image. And I will pass that to Trinity.
I'm gonna piggyback off the rap music again because that's still relevant. In I'm gonna say that I used to go to school in middle school with kids who had ankle bracelets on because they were on house arrest, and they were just 14, 15 years old and selling drugs and thinking it's cool and showing it off like it's an accessory. And I think the music that we listen to these days says that it's okay to do this and you're not gonna get caught. And everybody wants to. It's sad that our youth has to put our friends on shirts and say RP my friend, free my bro, tell us backwards, all this other stuff. And it's so relevant that you see it on social media because the music that we listen to says that it's okay and it's okay to do this. So I think that the music that we listen to is negative to us. I mean, it's popular, but it's still, that shouldn't be something that you should aspire to do, you know? And I'm gonna pass this. Ayana.
Okay. Okay. I agree with what you were saying. So, what we see and what we hear is unknowingly transferred into our subconscious mindset, whether we like it or not. So, the entertainment industry influences the way we act and view ourselves. And I feel that it is our responsibility to choose only entertainment that will impact us in a positive way. I personally enjoy watching the show For Life because its main character is an African American innocent male locked up in prison for life. But despite everything, he continues to work hard and become a lawyer to one day be able to have the opportunity to defend himself in court and get the freedom he deserves. And it encourages me and inspires me to become a lawyer, but also positively impacts my mindset, giving me the thought process that I can do anything and everything and work hard to get what I deserve. And with that, I'll pass it on to Jameer.
Roger. And thank you, Ayana, for that. Because now that gives me an idea where I'm going to go. And it's like the media is mental consumption here. It's like what you see, what you listen to, that's what your brain takes in the most. So if most people are taking in these like murderous scenes or these scenes of theft or larceny or just these scenes of basic like violence here, then that's gonna have a bad it's gonna impact them terribly. And it's like it's really about what we want to see here. And I mentioned it earlier, and I feel like when it comes to black entertainment today, it's not that, it's the fact that a lot of the mainstream stuff is the negative stuff. And that's the issue that a lot of us have, because like you said, it's out there. Like Hidden Figures is out there, and there are other great movies. And I'm not saying that you got to like go home and read like Kwame Ture and Frederick Douglass every night and then turn on documentaries. But it's really about what you want to see, because a lot of people will sit there and watch the Real Housewives of whatever city, but they don't really read anything. So, and it's a twofold issue, because the reason why these things are so popular is because people, like majority of people, like it. It really needs to be a cultural reset where we have to look at the values of the community. And because it's not like these things are being forced onto us, because we choose to listen to it. And I'm not saying that you have to cut off like mainstream rap music if like from your whole diet or anything like that, but understand what you're listening to and how that might affect someone else. Because a lot of people have the privilege of living in the suburbs and just listening to this dangerous music and thinking this one really this is just cool. Like it's cool, it's cool to sell drugs. It's cool to like run up on people. But someone who's in an inner city and who's very marginalized, they might listen to it and they might think this is the only way out for me. And you have to understand that we're a community, we're connected. So what you might do in Idaho or what you might do in Louisiana affects what's going on in New York City, because it's just about the prominence that's being pushed. So I would say we really need to look at the values of what we want from our from our black media in general. Like this is what we need to look. And I'm not saying, and what I'm saying is like we have to actually look at what's being consumed by us and see if it's conducive to what our futures are going to be. Because a lot of the people, because like I said earlier, when rap music first started, people were talking about their experiences, and they still are. But it's turned from a glorification. It's become a glorification, because it used to be I'm doing this so I can make it out the hood. But a lot of these people are just doing this not to make it out of the hood, but to become king of the hood and not buy anything. They're not buying anything back from it. They're basically being lords over rented land. And it's a shame that a lot of these people are such like short-sighted when it comes to this. And it, at the end of the day, it's really about we have to look at what we're doing and where it's leading us, and it's not leading us in a place that's good whatsoever. So we need to pivot quickly. And I'll pass that to Kalia.
Well, you said a lot there. I'm not gonna hold you, but I feel like everything is good, but there's no balance. Like it's no duality. Like okay, I'm not gonna sit here and act like everything I watch is documentaries and pro black. Like, yes, I love Bad Girls Club when it was on TV, and I listen to people like King Von and Lil Durk and people like that. But I also can listen to Connie Ray Bailey. I can also listen to Erica Badu. I also research Black Panther Party documentaries on Frederick Douglass. So it's like a certain duality, a certain balance that is missing in our culture now. Like everything is not as readily available as it used to be. Like I remember sitting on the couch with my grandma, my great grandma watching Bounce TV, where it was all these pro black, pro household movies readily available, and they're talking about how this used to come on at 6 p.m. on such and such channel, and these are public channels. But now people with cable don't get as much as people with Netflix and Hulu have. So it's just like everything has to be sought out now. Like everything has to be sought out. Mainstream media doesn't play these pro black songs on the radio. Everything has to be sought out. So I feel like that in a way influences how we see ourselves. But on the other side, black media has evolved and expanded. Like I said, sitting on the couch with my grandmother and stuff, it used to be so many movies on slavery, so many movements on the civil rights activists, so many movies on black cowboys, which was cool. But in the same thing, it just kept reinvigorating and re-triggering trauma that was laying dormant within us all. So in a retrospect, it was kind of a detriment, and we kind of came desensitized simultaneously to black trauma. But now black people, especially in movies, are opening up to different genres. Like we have whole black scary movies like Us and Get Out. We have whole black action movies like Queen and Slim, which have foreshadowing and symbolism of black issues. We have The Hate You Give. It's so many black. We have When They See Us. It's so many black shows and movements that are being brought up now. So I feel like even though there is some ways where it can be bad, it is some good in it all. So we've had a lot of comments. I cannot even hold you. So many comments that I don't even know where we stopped last. But all of them have been very, very serious questions. Help me understand what marginalized means. I hear it often, but its use always confuses me. So I hear it often too, Mr. Jordan, and I've heard that I lived in a marginalized community. To me, what marginalized means is impoverished, in lack of resources, a community in disparity, a community that is exploited, those are just some of the things that I think of when I hear marginalized. Like my community, we were a food desert for over 4 years before we got a grocery store that overcharged, that got closed down within 2 years, and then another one. We've had city council members who have constantly belittled and derailed movements. We've had so much violence, so much crime. So when I think of marginalized, and when people say my community is marginalized, that are just some words that help me to understand what they are talking about. Does anybody else have any input on that before I move on? No good? Okay, so before we get on into our last topic, our intermission for today is going to be something just a little different. Usually we bring up somebody who has a talent. Marginalized means to be kept within certain margins. So yeah, that sound about right. So what else was I saying? Oh, so we usually have Black youth going on with their talent, and we usually have them explain their talents. But in the past couple of days, we've been through a lot as a people. And so I felt like today we should take our intermission to be a moment of silence for us to not only regroup, but to commemorate the people, all the protests, all of the things that have been going on through this day. And I feel like the best way I can sum this up is a post I seen. It said that a lot of people think that these protests, that these riots, that these acts of rebellion are all for George Floyd. But they fail to realize that we are still shedding tears over Emmett Till. And I feel like that really sums up everything, because George Floyd, and may his soul rest in eternal power, and I send out my condolences to his beautiful daughter and his family. Although George Floyd's death was sickening, disgusting, unprompted, unwarranted, and unnecessary, he was just the added heat under an already boiling pot. He was just the added fire, the added lumber to an already brewing flame. Like, people were already here and he just sent them over. His death just catapulted everyone into a state of, I'm tired, I'm fed up. We did 400 years of this already. We can't do 400 more. It just sent people over. So while we are angry at George Floyd, we are still angry about people like Sandra Bland, who was taken out of her car for a traffic stop and screamed and pushed, "My wrist is breaking. I have epilepsy. Stop slamming me." We are still mad over people like Trayvon Martin, who was on the phone with the Amazon tea and some Skittles. And I said Amazon, Arizona tea and some Skittles, and didn't make it home that night. We are still mad about people like Eric Gardner, who was selling cigarettes, who said, "I can't breathe," numerous amounts of times, and still was chokeholded until he lost his life. We're still mad about people like Rodney King. We're still mad about the assassination of Fred Hampton. We are still mad about the injustices that happened way before us, way before our parents. We are still mad that we were taken from our homeland in 1619 by boat, carried in a disease-ridden, bacteria-ridden, indescribable vessel over to a foreign land and forced to work and build up a country that we have no rights in. Everybody's mad about these riots and looting, but we have every right to burn down a country we built up for free. So I would take this moment of silence. I know people are angry. I know looting and rioting and burning down and destroying property isn't conducive to the fight, but these people are angry and they have every right to be. So even though it's not the best for the people, it is definitely understandable. So I'll take this moment of silence. George Floyd was on that ground for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, but I'm not going to keep y'all in silence for 8 minutes. So I'm going to just do a 46-second moment of silence for it. Thank you. So, without further ado, we're going to move into this last topic, which still goes into BET, Black Entertainment Today. And so, we're going to talk about Black entertainment in politics. So, this is a two-part question for y'all. So, y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right. So, how has the use of Black entertainers as messengers for the social justice and political movement impacted us? And how has some of our favorite entertainers' silence impacted us? So I'll say it one more time. How has Black entertainers being used as messengers for the social justice issues, for the political issues impacted us? And how has their silence more so impacted us? And I'll give this over to Paul first.
Okay, so with our favorite celebrities in the entertainment community speaking out and becoming messengers and influencers, it has impacted me. It has shown that even though they have all this fame and all of this money, that they still step down and join the community and join the people to protest against the injustice in society that we have today. And the silence from some of our favorite entertainers, it shows that they really weren't loyal to our community at all. Yeah, they weren't loyal in the first place. And so it just makes me believe that since they don't care, I don't really have much of a reason to support them, because I have strong beliefs in the protests and all that we are doing. And if they don't believe in the same beliefs that I have along the lines of this community, I believe that I shouldn't support them if they aren't supporting the community as well. So yeah, I'll send this off to Ayana.
Okay. So Paul, that was amazing, and I most definitely agree. So it's very important, and it has a tremendous impact on our society and our community, having influencers and people in the entertainment industry, such as celebrities and those with a lot of following, to speak out on the injustices that plague our community. And oftentimes we look up to and aspire to be like certain influencers, whether it be rappers, singers, actors, etc. And what they do inspires us to want to do the same. Therefore, the more influencers that speak out, the more our community will speak out. But their silence is truly deafening, and it speaks volumes to the unspoken thoughts that are in influential entertainers' minds. And it gives the impression that they don't care about the societal ills that such as police brutality that continue to take our people away, and the injustice that continuously plagues our community. And that sends a very bad message. So me personally, like you said, Paul, if you don't care about important times like these, then I feel the need to not want to support your endeavors anymore, whether it's through music or film, because what influencers need to understand is that they have an unspoken, unwritten commitment to speak out and encourage and influence and not stand for these type of things. And if they aren't doing their job and speaking out like they have the ability to do, then what's the use of their position if they aren't using it to better our community from which they came? So with that, I'll pass it on to Q.
Oh, I'm bringing the glasses out for this one, guys. So I'm gonna talk about my ex-favorite rapper. I gave him a pass. He lost it now. Whoever put Nas as my favorite rapper now, I can. So Lil Wayne made the comment about it is our fault that that these bad things keep happening to the people, and which was a completely ignorant thing to say. I don't have control over whether a cop beats a person or not, and I cannot stand that comment. And honestly, people give these entertainers a pass because he dropped a dope track, he did this, he's funny or she's funny, etc., etc. And that's completely a horrible thing to do, because if we're giving them passes and passes, then we're just pretty much saying we're okay with what they're doing. And Lil Wayne, he made that ignorant comment, and then he was also saying on that live stream that he doesn't really know what is really going on within the current events. Well, ignorance is not bliss, like I said. edify yourself. You're supposed to know these things and important topics like this, stay up to date on things, because if you don't know your history, it's gonna do nothing but repeat and repeat. And Lil, like I said, his comment was just very hurtful to the Black community. It really was like a gut punch, because we work so hard. We are out there protesting. We are out there giving donations and trying to make our voice be heard. And to say we didn't do enough, and then he said that racism doesn't exist. Oh, some years back, like he grew up in New Orleans, like I think Fifth Ward or something. You grew up in systematic racism. How can you say racism doesn't exist? That is just how stupid. I'm sorry, but it's stupid what he said. And before I get too much matter, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to Trinity.
I agree with all of you. Q had to pull out the glasses. Yes. So, I think it's very humble. Well, not humble, but humble that some celebrities are coming out and protesting, like Kiki Palmer, J. Cole, Wale. A lot of people are coming out. I'm weak. But a lot of people are coming out and they are showing that they are using their celebrity status to help and to make awareness. A lot of these big name clothing companies and jewelry companies are going to lose revenue tremendously. Like this clothing store, Dolls Kill, she unfollowed all of her endorsement people. She unfollowed everybody that has said something that they are for Black Lives Matter and the protests and everything. And I think that she is of Asian descent. But I think that is very ignorant that you want to lose all your customers and all your revenue over something that is an issue in today's society that needs to be addressed. And you have the power and the status to make it. I feel like Paul is just all jumbled together. You have the status. You have the status and the hierarchy that you are able to say that this is not right, that this is not okay, and that you can make it right. But you want to lose all your customers and you want to go out of business because you don't want to do what's right. I'm not gonna get too into it, but
All right. Yeah, right here. I got it. Oh man, they didn't preach the word over here, and I'll keep it short on my take on this. Is that being an influencer or being a celebrity is an honor, because it's like people across the country recognize you for your talent in some way, shape, or form. And this recognition should not be taken lightly. So to see these rappers, these singers, these athletes come out and basically say, well, I appreciate that you made me famous. I appreciate that you made me rich, but now I'm above everything else. And the thing about it is, at the end of the day, if you take away the houses, if you take away the cars, if you take away the bank account, they be in the same position as most of us, Black people just trying to get by. And a lot of these celebrities forget that, because they think they're part of this aristocracy, in the sense that they have this capital, they have this wealth that elevates them above racial relations. And it's not true, because certain people, certain celebrities who are completely silent on this, they're snitching on themselves. And then those who do speak, but they try to give this flaccid answer, and they try to placate the same people. They try to placate these businesses because they're afraid about where they get their checks from. They don't understand that the first people who signed off on their checks were Black people. It doesn't matter what some white man in a suit in a high rise has to say, because he didn't get you there. He just sustained you there as it appeared. But once you lose our support, then he's not going to sign your checks anymore. They don't understand that Black people have sustained their careers since the jump. So I will say that if you're going to be a celebrity, you have to not let it go to your head, And you can't give a half-hearted response to the fact that Black people are simply asking for our humanity to finally be recognized in America. You can't say, well, I think that people of color should come together and just have unity, because you can't unify with people who innately hate you. It's not going to work. You can't change a corrupted heart. You can't change a murderous intent. You can say you can, but that's just ignorant, and it's either willfully ignorant or it's not. But it's not a suitable answer. And you have to understand that you have to use your influence, you have to use your capital that was given to you by the right of the people for the people, because you can't come from Black neighborhoods and then think that you are no longer Black, because once you remove everything, at the end of the day, you're still liable to be killed just as likely as we are. It doesn't matter if you in Beverly Hills or you in the Ninth Ward. It doesn't matter. And with that, I'll pass it to Khalil.
Well said, well said, well said, as always. So, just to piggyback off of what everybody else is saying, it's just the fact that a lot of people who gain their fortune and gain their notoriety off the Black dollar are really silent. And Jamir, you brought up a really good statement, a really good conglomerate that they like to put us in, which is people of color. But a lot of people of color have been real silent on this very Black issue. But when it was a whole lot of other things going on with other people of color, when other people of color's children and families were being deported and put in cages, when other people of color were getting disproportionately discriminated against because of the coronavirus, Black people stood in the forefront and were rallying alongside them without bringing our problems into their spaces. But as soon as it's something about us, everybody is silent. Everybody is silent. Nobody has anything to say. Everybody wants to remain neutral, but we're always picking their side. And I just don't understand people who want to remain ignorant and remain blind to these issues like they're not happening. Like without that 50K, without being on $100,000 a millionaire or a billionaire, you're still looking just like this. If a police officer pulled you over, you would get shot just like them. It's like they're rubbing elbows, you're rubbing elbows with these white elites, and you forget that you're not white. Like, no matter what is going on, you're still this melanin. That money does not wash away your melanin. It does not take that pigment out of your skin. So as much as you don't want to embrace being one of us, at the end of the day, they only see you as one of us. That's really all you will ever be. I be seeing people like Kanye who decide not to take stances, who say ignorant things, but you have Kim Kardashian is a white, she's like Armenian or something like that. But you have your wife out here fighting for the exoneration of Black people, but you choose to remain neutral. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't click with me. So I feel like if you choose to remain silent, it's like you're turning your back on the people that put you into power. And we're not standing for that anymore. A lot of us at 10 years old are recognizing the power of the Black dollar, and a lot of adults need to recognize the power of the Black dollar. If we choose to boycott it, a lot of these businesses would not go through. Like, y'all should see how many businesses are donating their fortune. Fashion Nova just donated $1 million to the National Bail Fund for Black people getting arrested during these protests. Like, people are seeing like, oh, I better go ahead and do something. I better go ahead and donate before these Black people stop funding me. But to just speak on like what Trinity was talking about, Louis Vuitton's creative director only donated $50 to the national protest bailout. I don't even think you could go into Louis Vuitton with $50 and be taken seriously. Like, what are you buying in Louis Vuitton for $50? Like, that's 25 cents to him. And he only donated that to the freedom of Black protesters who have been peacefully protesting. Like, y'all have, like, these people have to wake up. Y'all got to realize what's going on. And to wrap up, before we leave, we're not going to bring up a problem without bringing forth a solution. So, you guys, what is one thing that you feel like we could do with our influence, and that the people in the audience that are watching us could do with their influence to help this fight in a way that's bigger than just posting a black square with the hashtag Blackout Tuesday? So I'll start. I'll get this thing started. So this movement has been a proponent of messengers so far. Just people being messengers. And messengers are just the people to shake people up, to wake them up, to, hey, wake up, come on, wake up. Us as leaders, us as influencers with our leadership capabilities, it's our job to get those people that they shaking up and to pull them out of bed, tell them to come on, brush your teeth, come on, get dressed. We've got work to do. So even though there are protests going on and these messengers have riled these people up with these protests and gathered them together, we got to take this energy and we got to push it in the right direction. We know what to do next. Like us as leaders, we know exactly what to do next. We've been in this game long enough to know that, okay, these protests aren't it. Because if they're working, then Martin Luther King marching from Selma to DC would have worked back then. But these protests aren't working. We got to hit them where it hurts. We got to get that legislation. We got to talk to the right people. And us leaders know who to talk to. So gather these people who are already riled up and get them in these roundtable discussions. Get them in these places to talk to the people that need to hear this. Like, we need to now take these people and this energy and put them into position. And with that, I'll give this over to Q.
So I think a great way to be able to spread the word about all these social injustices going around is to create street teams within ourselves. Street teams, just gather flyers. 69 cents makes one flyer. 100 flyers, $69. If you gather together and unite, like I've been saying for a while, we can help spread awareness. And like my dad just posted, I really don't agree. Protests don't work, and I understand why we're rioting, because riots, they make change faster. But if we can spread the awareness, and because people are sitting here like, oh, I don't know why they're rioting. So if we need to spread awareness about why we're rioting. And so actually, before we got on here, I was in the process of making posters and flyers, and I'm going to print them out, post them around, because I think that'll be a good way to let people understand why we've been rioting and why we will continue to make our noise until we be heard. I'm going to pass that on to Ayana.
Okay, so I most definitely agree. And you spoke, wow, you're so powerful, Kalia. But I believe it's very important to be able to utilize a platform such as this to create awareness and solidarity. And that's why I'm glad Mrs. Starr and Mr. Rodney provided us this opportunity to reach out to our community and speak what is on our minds and let our voices be heard. And it's important to keep doing what we're doing on Wednesdays, as well as utilizing our social media platforms to spread awareness and get involved in grassroots organizations and just do what you can to make a difference overall. And I know what you mentioned, the Black dollar is very powerful. And we as a community have a very powerful choice on where we decide to spend it. And that's going to also make an ultimate difference and change. So with that, I'll pass it on to Trinity.
Thank you. I agree with all of you guys. I also think that an email can go a long way. If you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, that email can get passed on and you can start spreading the word by doing that. Even if you don't go out and protest, you can talk about it online. You can send links. You can donate money. You can donate supplies you donate money to get supplies for people. You can also, even if you know somebody that's protesting, tell them to, let them know where you are. Let them know, share locations if you have iPhones. Let's call them occasionally so they know that you're safe. It's just small stuff like that that can make a huge impact. And with that being said, I'm gonna, pass that on to Paul.
Oh, Lord.
All right. So basically we just need to spread through the media, and because that's basically what everybody is on, and we need to use our minds and become more creative with our tactics. We need to like how I make videos and Q is making flyers. We can use that as a way to spread our awareness and try to lock down on what we believe. And so like I'll go to where I saw on Instagram, Nick Cannon, he made a little poem, and it was It was about George Floyd and all of these African Americans that have died throughout the years. And so using the media as an output will most definitely come a long way because everybody is up there. And so, yeah, I'll throw that up to Jamir.
I got you. And I would say the next step, because they said the protests don't work, and it's not that the protests aren't working, it's just that there's nothing after the protest. Whereas people get emotional, people get angry, people get sad, people get heart-stricken, and they go out and they protest, and then after a while they stop and they feel like, well, nothing's going to change, so I'm just going to go home. And that's why the protests don't work. The protests do work in a sense that after you come home from protesting, you got to make sure that you start organizing and you strategize next. And that comes from spreading information, like the other guy said, but it also comes from political education and community, in a sense of you have to understand what your list of demands are going to be. You have to understand who you're talking to and what are your actual rights as an American citizen, because you are a citizen and you do have rights. So it will be political education, and not only just political education, but also education of the youth, which falls under the community aspect, in a sense that you have to go back to your communities and you have to connect with them. You have to make sure that the kids know what you're doing. They're never too young to understand that they're fighting against a system that doesn't recognize them as children and doesn't recognize them as humans. You have to let sure the kids know that the kids get involved, so that way that bedrock for the next generation is there. And you also have to get in your community in a sense that you have to go out and you got to become involved. You got to join your local Naacp. You got to join your local urban league, because you have to make sure that you're a part of you have to make sure your community is adequately represented, which means you have to give your voice in it, because it's already people out there who've been in the fields making sure that they can organize, and they need everybody. They need everybody, because for all the hundreds and thousands of people out in these protests, we still, every one of them, hundreds and thousands of people coming back from the protests and going into these meetings like the roundtables Khalil was talking about, or not even a roundtable, a Zoom call. Just make sure that you connect with your community, so after the protest you have a what's next, because the iron is already hot, but when the iron gets cool, you got to make sure that you still around. You got to follow it all the way through, which is why you have to get involved. And with that, I'll give it back to Khalil, because I know we eating up a lot of your time at this point, but it's good info.
We did eat up a lot of y'all time. We went a little bit over our intended, but we had to, what I'm saying, we had to get y'all the spill. It's been a lot going on, and we had to summarize it all up for you guys. So we would like to thank you guys again for joining us, for giving you your input on everything that we've been talking about, keeping you guys engaged. That is our goal. Making sure that we have good dialogue about the things currently hitting us is our goal. But before we leave, I know y'all see these. And I know you want one. You couldn't have just listened to all that greatness and not want one of these. So let me make sure y'all know. Go to Clever Communities in Action, their website, click shop, and you can get a shirt just like ours or one similar to ours, or you can go directly to the site, clevercommunities.bigcartel.com, and you can go and you can purchase some merchandise. The t-shirts are only $30, and you can cop some really limited edition, some real deal Literacy Gang apparel. So with all that being said, I would like to thank y'all for coming out. I would like to thank y'all for joining us, and I hope you guys have a great night. Is there anything else that any other influencers would like to say before we close out? No?
Great.
All right. So we'll talk to y'all next Wednesday. Bye.